You want to hear how a simple run to the store turned into a full-blown suburban showdown? Let me set the scene. Picture me, sweat on my brow, clutching a melting tub of Rocky Road ice cream in one hand and a bag of groceries in the other, all while 3 dogs are losing their minds in the backyard because I left the hose running for 10 minutes straight. And then, as if the universe needed one more laugh at my expense, I look up and see my own driveway padlocked shut, bold orange sign screaming, "Access suspended by HOA order." And there, across the street, arms crossed, smirk in place like a villain in a soap opera, is Karen. She slides down her sunglasses, takes a sip of whatever trendy kombucha is in vogue this week, and says loud enough for every nosy neighbor to hear, "Guess you should have painted that gate beige like we asked." Right then, I knew this wasn't going to be a regular Tuesday. And let me tell you, nothing about this neighborhood had ever felt high-strung or fancy. We're not talking about gated communities with golf carts and security guards, just a sleepy suburb where people played cornhole in the driveway and kids scootered around until the streetlights flickered on. But the day Karen took over as HOA president, everything fun got a price tag or a padlock. Now Karen was this tall, wiry woman with a visor glued to her head and a clipboard that, honest to God, seemed to have more legal weight than the Constitution. Called herself the Enforcer. We all called her the Fun Police. The week before, she'd already filed an official complaint about the color of my iron gate, said it was too dark. Intimidating ruined the neighborhood's visual harmony. I laughed, thinking she was joking, but you know what I mean? Some people just live for control. That day, I'd only gone out for 30 minutes. My wife Ashley had texted for dog food, eggs, milk, the usual. While I'm wrestling the shopping cart, Karen apparently hosts a code compliance intervention in my absence. Brings in a couple maintenance guys, tags our gate with her trademark orange HOA notice, and padlocks it shut like we're squatters on our own land. No warning, no call, just her watching from her balcony like she's the director of her own neighborhood reality show. I tried to lift the gate, but she used a padlock that looked like it could secure a vault. This thing was military grade. My dogs start going nuts, one of them gulping from the hose, the other 2 howling like there's a full moon. And there's Karen posted up in a lawn chair across the street, waving like she's watching an episode of Neighborhood Nightmares. I hop the side fence, muttering. Ashley comes out holding our baby in one arm and a banana in the other, gives me that look. What did she do now? I tell her Karen padlocked us in and deadpan. She says, "I'm going to jail today." I tell her not today. I got this. First I try being civil. Knock on Karen's door, polite as can be. She opens like she's auditioning for Judge Judy's sunglasses, pursed lips, that clipboard. I ask why she thinks she can lock up private property. She says, community standards. You were warned. I say it's trespassing. She laughs. I mention legal consequences. She calls it a challenge. You know that type. Wants the fight, craves the drama. So I dust off my old welding kit, set up shop in broad daylight. None of this sneaking around business. Coffee in one hand, torch in the other, I weld that padlock shut. Then I weld the hinges, then the handles. That gate isn't just locked, now it's fused into the fence for eternity, a modern art tribute to neighborhood pettiness. Halfway through, Karen comes out, eyes bugging out, and calls 911 screeching about community infrastructure sabotage. The police show up. Turns out I know the guys. I walk them through everything, deed video footage of Karen trespassing, the whole bit. One cop laughs, actually says, "This is the dumbest thing I've seen all week." Karen tries to argue, but when the cop asks if she had permission to alter my property, she clams up. They warn her and leave. Now here's where things get interesting. Karen thinks it's over. She's wrong. See, her padlock didn't just block my driveway, it blocked emergency access. I call up the fire marshal, good old Mike, who already knows me from the last too many Christmas lights complaint Karen filed. I send him video highlight every HOA violation Karen's racked up, even upload it all to the city. Suddenly our little drama isn't so little. The next morning, Mike shows up with his city truck, all business. He inspects the welded gate, takes measurements, looks at Karen's orange tag, watches the footage. Then he turns to me, deadpan. Anybody else have issues with the HOA? I hand him a list. Meanwhile, Karen's watching from her porch phone, gripped so tight I think she might snap it in half. When Mike calls her out, she tries to charm him, says the gate's part of community beautification. Mike just asks, "Did you touch this gate?" She admits it, sort of, and that's all he needs. Out comes the citation pad. He writes her up for impeding emergency access, tells her she'll need to provide documentation downtown. You could see the color drain from her face. That night, a quiet neighbor, Ray, shows up on my porch with a folder full of evidence photos of Karen's fake violations flyers she'd printed herself, even a neon pink sticky note she stuck to his trash can for being unacceptable. Turns out she'd invented half the rules she was enforcing, bullied people into paying fines for stuff that wasn't even in the HOA charter. So, with Ray's evidence and the fire marshal's report, I email the HOA board, the city, the fire department, everybody. My phone blows up. 4 neighbors call 2, knock on my door, and suddenly I'm the leader of the Karen resistance. Everybody's got a story. One woman was fined for painting her door the wrong white, another got a warning for keeping pumpkins out past Halloween. By the next morning, Karen's grip was slipping. People started ignoring her. A teenager paraded down the sidewalk mocking her walk clipboard and all. Karen wouldn't go quietly, though she called 911 again, accusing me of sabotage. The police came, found me mounting a camera, watched the footage of Karen putting on the padlock, and asked if I wanted to press trespassing charges. Her face went pale. The officer tells her, "Being HOA president doesn't mean you're above the law." She backs off. The fire marshal officially cited the HOA, forced an emergency board meeting, and while Karen sulked behind her curtains, the rest of us started pulling out old notices and receipts. The neighbors banded together, shared stories, realized we'd all been bullied for far too long. For the first time, people started talking about tossing the board entirely. But Karen had a few more tricks. Suddenly, I start getting weird letters from the HOA, all from different return addresses, violations for things like excessive wind chimes, audible laughter past 9:30 p.m. Then a so-called city inspector shows up, clipboard, measuring tape, the works. My wife films him on her phone. I ask for ID. He flashes something too quick to read, pokes around our yard, mumbles about municipal decor compliance, and leaves. I check his badge later, total fake. Not even a real inspector. Another neighbor confirms the same scam at their house. Karen's running her own secret police force now. Turns out she's got a cousin running a private code enforcement business. She paid him to issue fake warnings pose as city officials, all under the table. We dig through HOA records and find a shadow email account she used to file fake violations. She's built an entire racket. So we hand everything to a journalist friend. The story hits the local news video of Karen yelling the padlocked gate. Fake inspectors skulking around. The headline, HOA tyrant, or neighborhood vigilante. After that, the dam breaks. People start coming forward in droves. A lawyer neighbor drafts a petition, explains how to remove a sitting HOA president. At the next community meeting, we get so many signatures Karen can't even stall the vote. She storms in, calls the gathering illegal, threatens lawsuits, tries to rally the board. Nobody backs her up. People laugh, honest, cathartic laughter. Security escorts her out of the library while she's ranting about bylaws. It's over. The board votes to freeze all HOA enforcement. Karen resigns by email, playing the victim, but nobody buys it. We elect a new board, throw a barbecue to celebrate, and even whack a piñata shaped like a padlock. Refunds go out for bogus fines. The welded gate stays a symbol of the whole saga. People start talking to each other again. Kids joke about the Great Gate incident. Life gets lighter. But Karen, she can't leave it alone. Files a formal request to overturn her citation. Claims emotional distress from the aggressive gate welding. City calls a hearing. I show up with photos, videos, witness statements. Karen zooms in, tries to talk over the official, gets muted, loses her appeal, watching her face as they deny her. Let's just say I might have savored that a little. Months pass. The neighborhood heals, new leadership brings in community gardens, newsletters, weekend block parties. Heck, my wife finally breathes easy. Then one day I see a silver sedan parked out front. It's Karen just watching, not daring to get out. I don't need to say anything. She knows she's not welcome. This place is different now. Stronger. You know, it's funny, Karen locked us out to teach us a lesson, but it backfired. All it did was weld the neighborhood together. And every time I see that gate a little bent, a little scarred, I remember sometimes you gotta make a little noise to shut down the nonsense. So what do you think? Is there ever a right time to fight back against overreach? Or did we go too far? Let me know in the comments. This debate's not over yet.